Songwriter Soup.
When I showed up to that session, I was like, the life I view for myself is being in rooms like this every day, where I'm with people who inspire me, who are inspired by me, where we're chasing something great. If Connie Harrington is like, you can't phone it in, all of us, no one's allowed to phone it in anymore.
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Healthy recipes for not losing your mind and your money in the songwriter business.
Like, I'm trying to chase something great, and some people just want to be done. Good for you. Go write with other people who just want to be done.
Right.
But I find this to be a gift and a miracle, and I believe that songs still change lives. And maybe that's woo-woo and like whatever, but I'm like, I fully believe songs still do the thing.
Anywho. Welcome to Songwriter Soup. Y'all, we're back at it.
We're back. We're not back. We're here.
No, we're back.
We've been here. We've
I
been
like
here.
saying we're back.
We
though.
do.
You're
It's
back.
our
We're back again.
catchphrase.
That's right.
And we're back.
And we're back. Hi, Kevin. How are you today?
Hi, Laura. I feel great.
Great,
Why?
Tracy?
Do my eyes look red and weird?
Oh, you look great.
Do I look tired?
Tracy, well,
Well.
guess who we have? I don't know.
It's Adele. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. See, if I set your expectations really high, then whatever else happens is all fine.
You're
you
the
know?
first guest that came super prepared,
That's
so my
true.
expectations are really high.
Mine
Well,
are high
you know,
too, in the best way.
preparedness is key.
And you're always an over-deliverer, as
well,
I know.
we've talked about that, which we will talk about.
We will.
So,
Thomas Daniel is here.
yay.
Welcome.
Yay.
Thanks
Hold for
being
applause.
here.
Just kidding. Yeah.
We'll put it in
And there it
post.
is.
Yeah.
I just put it in post. I have already spoken of you on podcasts of yore. I am obviously a massive fan of you, and I'm so excited that you're here.
Well, I feel extremely grateful to be here, and I'm a massive fan of you. And as what I am like, I believe to coin a super fan.
I'd like to hear those parameters.
Soup, Songwriter Soup.
Oh,
or fan.
boy.
It's early. It's too early for you all. But you
Yes.
better wake
Songwriter
up. Buckle up,
focus.
everybody. It's word time. Mama's clocked in. As the first ever super fan on Songwriter Soup, I'm honored to be here, and I do absolutely take it as a tremendous honor to be here and talk about the thing that I love more than anything with people who care about it and people who do it and help other people to do it.
Yeah.
And I am very, very honored to be here, so thank you.
I'm thrilled. And I do feel like superfans spelled soup
SOUPER.
needs to be a hashtag of
merch.
some kind.
Absolutely.
Yes. Merch, something. We
Merch.
need to
You know me, I'm always gigging. I'm always
I
thinking.
know.
So.
You've given me so many ideas already.
Kidding.
Well, Thomas, here's the thing. You're one of these people that, you know, and when I say one of these people, I think one of these people for me, where as soon as I was around your writing, I immediately was like, who are you? And what, I can't even imagine where your career is headed, because I just think you're so good. To quote myself, you're better than everyone.
Okay, which first of all, that review's insane because it's categorically untrue, which is what I texted you. And it's just, she was like, I saw her at a thing and she was like, I left like a little Easter egg. I said a little thing about you and the thing, you'll like it. I was like, oh, great. And then you told everyone that I'm better than everyone, which sets an impossible standard. So now if I ever have an off day,
No off days.
Listen,
you're a liar. No, but the truth is I very much appreciate that. And you know what I appreciate about that conversation, and I know we have so much to talk about, but you were talking with Jordan about like, how do you integrate younger, fresher writers into different situations? And that is something that I think is so important. And I feel like I represent a bracket of songwriter that is often overlooked in conversations. It's like there are hit songwriters who are already gazillionaires. And then especially to corporations, if you're not one of those, then you're like a hobby songwriter. And it completely removes the like middle class, like doing it every single day, clocking your hours, like literally showing up at work every day to do the job, songwriters from the conversation who are amazingly talented, hardworking, great people. And I really appreciate the shout out, and you're wonderful about, you know, putting your time and your money and your word where your intent is. And I just really appreciate that.
That
and
makes me so
I had the privilege the day that we met of knowing you before that day because you officiated our friend's wedding.
Yes.
And then I had shown up and to a session that I was kicked out of like at least 12 times before they were like, there's no one else.
Hold on,
I guess.
tell us about
Yeah,
that.
we need to break that
I
open.
need the whole story.
Let me just say,
on that.
there's everything that I say is alleged.
Disclaimer.
This is a fantasy podcast.
This
y'all.
is it's a sci-fi,
just-
really.
This is a fictional tale.
And
we're
it's
about to
my
tell.
own opinion of which is not held up in a court of law.
Or
no,
by Songwriter Soup LLC.
yeah,
Yes. What's interesting is there's so many dynamics of things that can play into. I think you all had a podcast episode where it was like all the ways a song can die.
Yes.
You know what's interesting? Talent aside, there's a million ways a songwriter cannot be successful. And they're like just so talented and deserving. And I'm sure we all know all of those people where it's like, man, they write great songs, they do the thing. And like, where is the missing component to make it happen? And for me, if you're an audio listener, I'm so skinny. But if you're not, what's interesting about being a bigger bodied person is that societally you're viewed as a joke until like otherwise. So it's like people who don't know me, it's like, oh, well, you're probably funny and you're going to like, you'll be a part of the vibe, but no one sees me who doesn't know me and thinks that guy's going to go in and clock in and come up with the idea and produce half the song and, you know, do whatever just because of the way someone looks, which can't even imagine how it feels to be a woman or a person of color or any of the other societal, you know, things. But what's interesting is sometimes before people know me and know what I do, they're like, who is this person that we don't like? If there's no like, well, so many people in the music industry, they listen with their eyes, which we've talked about before, where it's like, you know, if you're a publisher and you get 50 songs in a day and one of those songs say John Bellion on them, which one are you going to click on first?
Yeah.
To listen. You know what I mean? So it's very interesting. But that day, I felt like it was 2 days after my wedding. The artist that we were working with, who is amazing, was like, hey, if I'm coming to your wedding, do you want to do sessions for a week? And then I was told I was doing them, and I was told I wasn't doing them, and I was told I was doing them.
Let me break that open a little bit. So, Lauren Spencer Smith is
amazing,
amazing artist. Thomas is definably her comfort blanket. Thomas is the person that she wants in the room because that's her safe place. I'm that for so many artists. You're that for Lauren.
Wow.
And because Thomas is, I said this on the podcast before, relatively unproven. Not unproven, just
for sure.
relatively unproven.
Totally co-signed everything that you said in that thing.
There are powers that be that continually tried to get him out of that room.
So let me just the artist knows you well.
Yeah, and wants me to be there. Yes.
And there's other
powers
how does
that be.
actually happen?
I think
like,
for the same reason the John Bellion thing. It's basically like,
how does it like?
Oh,
who's making the call? And maybe we shouldn't go there.
I think we shouldn't. I think it's more
But
just.
There's a
I think the importance is that the call gets made,
Mm-hmm.
and
That's right.
it's often not factoring in what the artist wants.
which is shocking to me. Like, as the fan
Mm-hmm.
on the fan side is like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Wait a
Yeah.
minute.
And it's happened to me too.
Isn't she
For
trying
sure.
to say
And I-
For
things
sure.
that she wants to say
Yeah.
with you
Yeah.
and you and
Yeah.
Okay.
And I do say that while I appreciate that very much, I fully believe in Lauren's ability to
Of course.
do all of the things in her career sans me.
But she's the one
But
who's saying
it is
what
wonderful
I'm,
that
yeah.
she chooses
Yes.
to and respects my ideas and my presence in the room, and wonderful, and I'm very grateful. But so I drive back from my wedding, still not knowing if the session is going to happen or not because nothing has been confirmed.
Did you not
on
postpone like a
a honeymoon? Correct. That is exactly what happened. So
for these
yes, for the
sessions?
possibility
Yeah.
of the sessions, not for the, not the locked in 100% version. It was for the possibility.
which underlines your point about this middle class
Correct.
songwriter
Yes.
who is
Where it's like
showing
I
up.
don't have the same bandwidth to be choosy.
Yes.
It's my even in
That's
the era
an
that I'm in now, and
important point.
I love. We'll talk so much, I'm sure, but I'm very happy in the trajectory of my career where I'm at right now. I love the rooms that I'm in. I love the creators that I'm around, and it's still on my mind to make sure that everyone that I work with knows that I'm here to clock. We swear, right?
Yeah.
The fuck in. And as I hold my modesty pillow, like my life depends on it, which is very cool that they're here. Love to see it. But yeah, it's like, oh, there's so many of my friends and peers get that feeling of like, well, there could be a session that could write a song that could change my life. So I guess I'm going to do whatever I have to do to make sure that I'm available.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And that's what it was, is I knew that, you know,
Right.
she was coming to our wedding and she was going to be in Nashville for a week. And I was like, I will absolutely be the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 20th, whatever person needs, if I'm allowed to be there, I would love to write.
So my position on this was I'm set up to write with Lauren Spencer Smith. Steve Rush and I write with a ton of artists. We're like, oh, sure. So a 3-way at that moment
For sure.
seems like efficient.
It makes sense.
And they're like, well, and this is how they essentially worded it to me. Now, I don't hold anyone liable for what they were told.
Oh, of course, same.
But I was told she has this guy she wants to bring in, you know, like, I don't know what it's going to be like. Just that's her preference. And of course, I'm like, that's the artist's preference. That's their prerogative. I would never buck that. But it turns out, and I feel like Lauren would co-sign on what I'm about to say, I love Lauren.
Oh.
But as soon as you started writing, I was like, Lauren, who now? I was literally going like, who are you? Like his writing was so great and so prolific and just endless. And I would stop.
I'm going to set myself on fire.
No, please don't. I just literally was so impressed with, and I love writers. I like artists a lot, but I love writers. I mean, that's like,
we're the coolest people.
We are.
And that's how I feel.
I hear that a lot.
We're the coolest. For sure.
Exactly.
But song people, which is not just song creators, it's also the people who help song creators create. But like being on team song people,
it's a vibe.
We're all
right.
Neurotic, mentally deranged,
and entertaining,
funny.
We're funny,
talented.
All that to
caring.
say, my point is that I was immediately struck with like, who is this person? I'm immediately texting Mike Molinar, who I have never, and I've been in business with him for nearly 20 years. I have never said what I said. I was like, look him up, find him, sign him, trust me, and he did. Which is great.
And that moment changed my life. And to circle back to how can we integrate different writers in the room, right? It's like you're a person who doesn't just talk about it, but you do the thing. You made a text on a Tuesday. It was November 5th. And in that set room, a person texted my phone and said, LV speaks highly of you. We should meet. And I had a meeting with that person, had no offense to anyone. My background is in pop music.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Big Machine pre-signing there.
Didn't
Didn't know who the meeting was with. It was in a perfectly humble office.
Yes.
Had a lovely time. Left afterward. Found out it was Mike Molinar. Which actually I think is the best case scenario.
I agree.
Like imagine if we could all just go into situations where like our pre-expectations, and that's what I think is so important with songwriting to try and do. It's like we come up with these ideas in an effort to be prepared, which is important and is part of the job. But with an artist, it's like, I think that like great songwriting is when like preparedness meets presence. Like you're like, I'm going to have ideas that I think could work, but that has to only be in tandem with my ability to be present in the room and listen to the conversation that's happening and be a part of it and engage with it and see like what is the right thing, which honestly is no different than doing this podcast or doing
100%.
anything in life.
Exactly.
Like whatever the thing is, it has to be a combination of like preparedness meets presence, because you never know when someone's going to say that one thing that we all go, which happens, and it's a wonderful, magical thing.
Yes.
It's like we're all trying to catch the firefly together. It's like that was that idea, that was the firefly, and now we're all going to run around the room for 4 hours and try and catch the firefly. But I really appreciate it. It's like maybe you didn't know in that moment how that would change my life, but it did.
I did. And I want to say something. I did know, because I know the team I have, and I know they're the best team available in this town, and probably in terms of just the way they function, I think they're a really just excellent team. Saying they're the best is just because I'm a team player, love my people, but the way they operate, the way they support, the way they uplift, and the long game approach to being a songwriter is, I don't think anyone else is thinking the same way they're thinking. And I was thinking to myself, a man who has been undervalued for so long, and even in the session, someone, alluded to the idea of it just being like, this guy. I was like, if anyone deserves the kind of treatment that I get, it's this man. And I want to say something important. I can't tell you how many people have asked me.
Same. I know where we're going.
Whether you are signed to me. You are not. And I want.
And you never asked. Never had a conversation about it. Like,
never crossed my mind.
Truly.
I've never heard the word co-venture come out of Laura's mouth.
And
this podcast.
And I think it's worth being honest about that. That's something at middle-class songwriter, it feels good to have a mentor. Like, people sign those deals because they think like, wow, will that mentorship be the difference between me just being another songwriter or me being a songwriter that's signed to a hit songwriter that has, access to be in certain rooms or, mentorship in some way. And you're essentially offering up a percentage of whatever you're going to make for what you believe is worth it in direction and mentorship. And by the way, sometimes that still doesn't happen.
Exactly.
Oftentimes that person's busy and whatever, and you sign just like it's like my first publishing deal was not the experience of my dreams, but it taught me so infinitely much about what my expectations should be, what my expectations of other people should be. So for what it's worth, when you texted Mike and Mike reached out to me and we started this conversation, at no point was it like, and you'll be signed to Laura through my Big Machine, and this is how that's all going to be. Yeah. I really appreciate you because you could have done that, and I probably would have for sure considered it.
I believe that you would have considered it. I want to break open this just for the listener. Like, there are writers in town who, some of which have buildings, have staff, have a publishing house, have a partner in a publisher, and that's great.
Wonderful.
It's not for everyone. And I think that when a songwriter has like a little bit of success, there's this temptation to diversify. There's this temptation to sort of go like, I can make money twice. And all love, but
and that's not a projection to the people who do it. It's
not
just
everyone, but some of them.
Some of them,
do that.
Well, that's the difference between you and why you are who you are. And those people is because for you, diversity is for the sake of the song, not for the sake of the money.
Well, I'm already benefiting from your talent. It's plenty for me. When I write with Thomas, I'm benefiting from your talent. So I get to co-sign on a song, co-write a song with you where I'm borrowing your freshness, your newness, your ideas, your talent. That to me is plenty. I'm benefiting plenty from writing with you. I think it gets a little squirrely if you're dangling a publishing deal in front of a new writer and saying, "I'll write with you." It's just something has gone awry, and I honestly I've heard this from so many sources. I've never thought about it that way. There's so many writers who have writers.
For sure.
Who literally like, I have never thought about it that way.
Some of them
not
do
trying
it
to
really
make
well.
Some of them
yes.
do
And
really
they
well.
want to be entrepreneurs.
Yeah, for sure. And also they help those writers and they help, and like that is a tremendously great asset.
Yeah.
And I'm the financial guys sometimes are probably guilty of saying, "Hey, diversify."
Yeah.
Sure.
Like diverse, spread out your streams of income, which is good financial advice if it's done in the right spirit and they have a great team. Because it's one thing to have sort of be in the same office, rub elbows, like learn by osmosis. But a writer is not a Mike Molinar, ever. I've
for
never
sure.
met one.
Me neither.
I know a lot of great entrepreneurs.
Also, I've never met another Mike Molinar, ever.
True.
He's special.
He is
special.
He's very
the most special. And that's not obviously just because I chose to sign there, but I chose to sign there because of Mike Molinar.
Yeah.
And it was a situation where having that conversation with him, I have this like thing where it's like, I hope that the people that I work with feel just inspired to work with me, but I also want to feel inspired to work with them.
Yes.
I think that like the best partnerships are where everyone feels mutual respect and inspiration from each other. And it had been such a long time since I had a conversation with a suit, which you can bear. Like, he is obviously a executive and a super evil genius strategic mastermind. But he has the heart of a creative. He is a very thoughtful, sensitive. He knows, like, he has endeavored to learn the language to be able to speak to us in a way that like stokes the coals. And it's crazy because that should be the like bar to get into publishing, and it's not.
Wow.
It's just absolutely not. And so many times it's like my first publishing experience made me feel worse than before I signed the deal. It made me feel like I was a less talented songwriter, that it must be me. And there's so many things that like I wish now I could have, like, if me now could sit down with me then and be like, here's some expectations we should talk about. Like, for example, how long does the pipeline take to activate, right? Because if I sign a deal today, I'm not going to see anything. And even when I'm going to see them is probably, unless, we write someone like you today, is... it's going to be a year and a half, you know? Well, if you don't know that, you've now signed this deal and you have all this energy and this momentum that's happening now. Meanwhile, I signed my first deal in April of 2020, which I don't know if you remember what was going on that month and year, but it was a mild time, to say the least. And I totally, like, send a lot of honor to the woman who signed me at that company, because she did not have to sign me in that deal, but she was like, we don't know how long the world is going to be closed down and you should probably have a little money to get through it. Saved my life. Like,
wow.
Amazing person.
So even in the midst of not the best deal,
oh, for sure, there's good from everything, right? It's like, it's not about throwing the whole thing out and being, set fire to the building and like whatever. It's like there are things that I learned a lot there, and they paid me to get better. Yeah. Well, really, I paid me to get better because that was a recruitment style deal. So really, my future self paid me to get better, but they loaned me my future money to pay me to get better. Which was so generous of them.
But I want to go back to don't never. I just want to go back to what it would have looked like if I signed you, so that mathematically, hi out there, you're at my level of the songwritership experience, or you're a couple of hits in and you've got some cash flow. Just word to the wise, let me show you what it looks like for Thomas if I sign Thomas. So I go to Mike and I say, hey, Mike, you're a publisher. Will you do all the work of the publisher? I got this guy. I'll take a third of the publishing portion. Thomas will take a third and you'll take a third. Mike would have said, absolutely. Because that's the standard thing that happens. Who would that have? What am I doing by doing that? What am I doing by doing that? I'm taking whatever the fuck the math would be of half of a third, don't even try, out of your pocket and out of the publisher's pocket. They're doing all of the work. I'm still writing with you because I now have incentive to write with you beyond your talent.
Are we only writing then because there's a financial incentive to work together?
I think
are we
it's
writing
dangerous.
together because magic is happening? And also, I want to say just very quickly, and everyone in this room already knows this, and everyone listening already knows this, but Laura is very kind in her assessment of what I do in the room in terms of like coming in with ideas and fresh or whatever. But also, this is a person who can do the whole thing and has her own ideas, and obviously a tenure and a career that proves that. But also, it's like, I think sometimes for people who are out of the room, they don't really have a bird's eye view for what's going on in the room. And that comes back to fuck us. So many ways when it comes down to splits and production and all this different stuff, right? But I'm like, Laura is a person who can come in with the idea. I've seen it in real life. The channel is the faucet is open. Heaven is pouring out. Our job is to keep the faucet open and type like our lives depend on it. It's not to get in the way. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Furiously, like old school typewriter, like court stenographer. 100%, right?
Just like
keyboard burning, smoke.
15 people in a row.
Right?
In a row.
And it's great because perhaps there are some people who can't do all of those things. She can, and I think that your decision to value what I do just as a co-creator, not as as a vested interest in what the future might be.
Let me add to that.
Also, can I just say, it also
colleagues.
But that feeling inspires me in ways that I wouldn't realize I feel now. I would have still been inspired if it was the other way, but now I don't feel like you're my boss. I feel like you're my co-worker, like my colleague, and I'm excited when we're in the room together. And also, I think it's so fun, like when you first asked, if I may say this.
Yes, please.
And we have to circle back on the thing. But when you first asked me to do this, I was like, I don't really know if I should do the podcast because there was a guy on here who was like, I just want one more number one so I can say I have 25. And I'm like, we're in different places. Like we're not in, that's very inspiring for someone who's listening. But when you're like, how do I get one? Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's just so, it's like so far into the future.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of respect and admiration for all three of you and this podcast and what it does and the impact that it does and what you talk about. And part of me felt like,
Well, your voice
like,
needs to be heard.
well, part of me felt like,
totally.
I don't want to be here
Yeah.
just because, like, we know each other, like we're friends. And then I realized I'm like, we're friends because I showed up and I did my job. And I want people who listen to this to understand that you're not like a family friend that I knew that's like helping me out along the way. I showed up to a session that I almost wasn't like going to be in. And I was like, I have to write my ass off like nothing, like whatever, because I'm excited to be here. And when I showed up to that session, I was like, this is the life I view for myself is being in rooms like this every day, where I'm with people who inspire me, who are inspired by me, where we're chasing something great. Is it Connie Harrington? If Connie Harrington is like, you can't phone it in, all of us, no one's allowed to phone it in anymore.
Yeah,
Do you know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Like, I'm trying to chase something great, and some people just want to be done. Like, and that's good for you. Go write with other people who just want to be done.
Right.
But I find this to be a gift and a miracle, and I believe that songs still change lives. And maybe that's woo-woo and like whatever, but I'm like, I fully believe songs still do the thing.
How
And
could you do something so hard, so consistently if you didn't believe that?
Right.
That's
Right.
my point. It's like, it's a brutal endeavor.
For sure.
If you don't have that drive.
For sure. So I just really appreciate you because you I remember the day that we wrote Parallel Universe, I'd come in with this idea, which is a song that Lauren put out that I love. We
It's
love the song.
one of my favorites
It's
of the
great.
year.
And I had this little idea that morning at my piano at home. I was like talking to Jeff, my husband. I was like, shout out my husband. I love you.
What up, Jeff?
And I was like, what up, Jeff? But I was like, oh, I have this little idea. We'll see. And I brought it in, and Lauren is first of all, Lauren has a supernatural memory. She remembers things, and like she's like, yeah. And then we were in the car on the way to Wicked, and you came up with this idea called Parallel Universe, and like she's on a podcast saying exactly how it happens.
Oh my
where
God.
other artists would be like, and when the Oracle came and visited me in the night with the idea. Like Lauren is so good about giving credit where credit is due, which she does not have to do.
She doesn't.
But she takes care of all of us in spades. But she's just amazing. So I want to give her some love for
absolutely.
that. But and I came in and I had shared my little start of an idea, which I do often. If I don't feel like if there's not like a really quick pulse, I'm like, I might have this idea. I talked to Lauren about it, and something that you're amazing about, which I want to talk about, is like the belief that a great idea can come from anywhere. I think is fundamental to great songwriting, that it doesn't have to originate inside of me or inside of the person that has the hit or inside of the artist. A great idea can come from anywhere, and anywhere includes me. So like you heard it and you were like, that's perfect. That idea is great. We're not changing it, whatever. And in that moment, I had this like very to myself, no one knew, tangible moment where I was like, it's never been a talent issue. It's just been, I'm not in the right room. I'm just not in the right space. I'm just not around my peers. I just don't have, it's like unheard songs can't get cut. So like, what are you supposed to do if you're in a situation where you're writing better and better and better and better and better and better songs, but there's no infrastructure for anyone to ever hear those songs. And that was such a like moment for me that I'll always remember, that I remember to this day, where it's like, everything but pre that I like put on myself. Cause you know, we were talking about in your, these expectations of your first songwriting deal. It's like, yeah, I'm not making any money for the first year and a half of that deal. And then I finally get a statement and it's like $300. And at that point now the new sign smell has worn off. So your people aren't mobilized anymore. And you're like, oh, I suck at this job.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at this job.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make money. No one cares. And
It's demoralizing.
and like, what am I supposed to do? And the plot twist, you keep going. You just keep going and you keep going and you keep writing and you keep getting better. But that moment on that day was like a really pivotal moment for me where I was like, oh,
it's not you.
all these things that I internalized, it's not me.
It's not you.
It's just, I wasn't in the right room. The right person hadn't seen me yet. And wouldn't it have been a shame if I had stopped a week before that? Right? And I still feel that way.
Yeah.
I still feel, you know, it's like I'm pushing, like I know, and I can feel it, like I can smell it. I'm like, it's right there. I have the right peers, I have the right team. I'm like feeling really inspired and taking care of myself so I can output as much as I'm like the whole thing. There's a lot of math to the non-math job, surprisingly enough. But
We only count by 4.
yeah, right. But that was a very impactful moment, and that's because of you, and because
thank
you
you.
in a moment, instead of being like, who's this super skinny, tiny, no, I'm just kidding. Who is this person who is unproven and knows nothing? You are mature and talented and aware enough in your own gifts and your own success and in your own ability to be able to say, that idea, not this one, not this one, not this one, that idea. Or if that idea doesn't exist, you're Laura Veltz, so you said, here's the idea.
Well,
and it
here's
becomes
the deal.
a thing.
We are going to pivot this podcast from talking about me to talking more about you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You are so loving with me, and all I want to do is celebrate you, and B, the fact that mentorship is needed.
Yes.
And I feel
And you shouldn't have to
a
get paid to
sense-
do it.
Exactly. I have a sense, and I will die on this hill. Mentors shouldn't need incentive. I don't need incentive to mentor someone. This whole podcast, I mean, we are losing money left and right.
Yeah.
This is not, that's not what we're
Right.
here for.
Right.
I have done my thing. I feel comfortable with what I've contributed, and I'm not planning on stopping. But the idea that I need you to make me money to mentor you is an incorrect seed that was planted. I don't know when, but in Nashville, it's starting to grow teeth. And I just want to, it's a cautionary tale out there. Hi, it's a cautionary tale. You can be a good mentor without benefiting financially from
And it maybe
another
makes
writer.
makes the impact of that mentorship more. That's what
I
I'm
think
trying to get
so.
at. You know what I mean?
And-
And I'll say I've seen it from 2 ways go. Like I said, great entrepreneurs that want to build a business, and also the flip side, writers who think, oh, this is what I should do. I should create a business and diversify.
Totally.
For sure.
And it's totally distracting. And I think the cautionary tale for me there as the kind of financial guy on the writer side is like, do what drives you, do what the energy explodes in you. And if that's purely songwriting, do that. If you want to build a business, that's fine.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And but follow that energy, because I've seen it distract.
Yeah.
And so we don't give the wrong impression overall. I mean, we have had people on this podcast who do what we're talking about, but
Really
do
well.
it really,
Really
really
well.
well.
Yeah.
And it's not
With the right reason and motive and
Yeah.
intention, and it
Yeah.
makes a
And
great
team.
difference.
And circling
team.
back
They
to what-
all have a great team.
Yeah, and Tracy just said it. It's like if passion is at the wheel, do it.
Yeah.
But I don't think the twinkle in the eye is typically passion when a writer's just like, I just happened upon a new writer. I'm gonna sign him. No building. All you really have is money and a publisher friend. If that's your if that's your reason, then please count to 10 and think about how you're affecting this next generation psychologically and financially.
Well, and we have to the next. So you please.
And the psychology goes both ways, because I was really resonating with what you were saying on the colleague side of things, because all of a sudden, I just want people to think through this. You just like elevated to a state where you hadn't felt like you'd been
100%.
before, because of the way you interacted together. And I think there's a lot to that, and people should. That is an amazing feeling. I could only. I was kind of like just feeling your energy as you were describing that,
For sure.
thinking, "Man, what a day! What a day when that happened!" And on your end, to be able to participate in that as the older gentleman in the room, it's amazing to think that you can help people along.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm at the age where all my friends' kids are graduating from college, so I'm getting the calls of like, "Hey, so and so's graduate. Would you meet with them? They're in
Sure,
finance.
of
They want-"
course.
And it is a joy. I'll tell you, it is a joy to
Yeah.
sit down with and be that hand up, because there's hands above me. There were hands above
that's
you.
right.
But that's
pulling me
100%
That's
is
right.
at one point
this way.
every hit songwriter wasn't a hit songwriter, and they were in the room with other people feeling the exact identical way so many of us feel now, right? And I have a mantra which I have to say because I believe that it like truly is my superpower, which is every single day, even on the way to this podcast, my only thing that I have to do on any given day is be myself and try my best. It's not about anything else. The actionable can't be, I'm going to write a song that wins a Grammy today. That's an external thing that I can't control. What I can do is try my best and be myself, and then see what spaces and what co-writers and what collaborators and what artists bring that naturally out of me and which ones don't. Because these ones that don't probably don't need to be there. And the ones that do, great, let's do more of those things, right? So it's like,
I really like the part about being yourself, and in that I mean just to build a career with a conscious intention to build it on who you really are. Not that it's hard to even put this into words because it's very nuanced, but the idea of someone going in and not being themselves, if you write a hit when you're not yourself, then you're building equity around something that doesn't actually exist in a real sense. So I just really enjoy your mantra. He's said that to me 1,000 times.
I'll say it 1,000 more times.
And it's a beautiful thing to say.
Helps me in every single aspect. Literally, it's what I said this 5 seconds in my car before I walked into our session was, don't get in your head about anything because of who's written what or like whatever. My job is to be myself and try my best and trust that if I'm doing that, I'm going to gravitate towards the right friendships, the right relationships, the right artists, the right everything. And it has served me swimmingly. And I think sometimes people, if you're someone who struggles to make like actionable goals, because like I don't believe in like New Year's resolutions, right? Because how many years in a row am I going to write like I want to be like thin and rich on a whiteboard and then be fat and poor? But it's like to have something that is actually within your control is so imperative in this industry because so much is out of your control. So it's like between me and a hit song is like 100 people who have to be having a good day, right?
Wow.
So it's like everyone in the room has to be having a good day. That artist has to be having a good day. That artist manager has to be having a good day. The artist label has to be having a good day. Everyone who's going to work on the team to market and promote that song has to be having a good day. The algorithm, who is a nebulous person we don't know but we pray to, has to be having a good day. Everyone watching it through the algorithm on that day has to be having a good day. Like it's an infinite amount of people that have to be having a good day for me to have the thing. If I think about it that way, again, burning the house down.
Crushing.
Instead, you know what I can do? I can make sure that I'm myself and I try my best. And that's it. It's every single day. It's like you've said, like what a successful day looks like to you,
it's the
right?
same for me.
For me, what a successful day looks like is any day that I can be myself and try my best. And if that involves writing a song with other song people, that is my highest degree of wonder that I can experience in a day. I love song people. I don't aspire to write one song and sing it for the next 20 years. Having a hit is a blessing. I aspire the next day to write a new song. That is where my cosmic click, my final Rubik's Cube like thing happens, where it's like, this is why I feel like I'm alive. It's to be right here in this room doing this thing, chasing this feeling.
Well, this is also why I believe in you so much, because your mantra matches what I believe to be like the cocktail that equals a hit songwriter, and one who will stay happy when you're on top of the world and it feels like, oh my God, do I have to do, like you're going to have this moment and it's coming where you have your hit and all of a sudden the first one's done. And all of a sudden it's like, all I've got is this one, just one. Oh my God, I just have one. And then there's a panic of like, how am I going to do it again? And then I'm afraid, like you're going to be able to manage those ups and downs. And again, if I was a savvy shark of a business lady, I'd sign you and be like, this guy's going all the way to the top. I want to benefit. That's not my MO. But man, when I think about what I know is coming, like you're going to be able to manage, you know what I mean? The mental fuckery.
I very appreciate that. And with the idea of like what is coming, so many times we will say, if we can like pivot into some kind of actionable things to talk about, which I think would be important, more, not that we haven't, we already have, of course, but I'm literally going to jump. But it's like, we're so quick to be like, it's just a matter of time, right? But in that, I think we're overlooking, it's only a matter of time if you can afford time. It's always a matter of time and money. Always. And there are tiers of songwriters that if you cannot afford the time, you start becoming in a war where it's like, well, I need money, so I have to work a job. And that takes out of your matter of time hours that you're clocking in, right? So my feeling is that in every career, I work with tons of publishers who have never placed a #1 hit song. They get a salary and health insurance. I don't think it's unreasonable in a multi-bazillion dollar industry that there can't be a path for songwriters to have a livable wage.
Yeah.
That's in any field. You would say any person who is working 40 hours a week should have, I'm not saying everybody should be driving around in a taking the private jet to work today. But if you're actually doing the job, there should be a pathway to do the job. And we have talked about before, it is crazy that the only person in the creative process that has to take it in the teeth is the songwriter. I only make money if every single other person here has won exponentially more in the thing.
That's a true statement.
If no one else does, they still collected their salary. They still collected their health insurance. They still do their tours. It's like we could put out a song that like literally it's a sold out tour. It's the name of the thing. They're making their money. The song doesn't really stream that much and the label doesn't push it to radio. And that means what an amazingly fun thing for me to post in my Instagram story. Yay. Awesome.
But it doesn't pay the bills.
It doesn't pay the bills.
And it doesn't advance your career aside from...
Correct.
It's almost like, I don't know, I've been in this situation before where I'm credited for something, but I'm not paid for it.
Right.
Like when someone's like, thank you for your work, we're going to go ahead and put your name on that. And I'm like, wow. And that is a big step.
Absolutely.
Especially if you've been, largely that talent or that contribution has been ignored. But it's still there's something fishy
There's
about
a lack of sustainability.
100%.
Totally.
And my feeling, and this is again my personal opinion, and please write me all your letters about whatever, but we know that diversity in the songwriting room makes the song better, right? The presence of women is not performative in nature. Songs perform better when women are given the opportunity to be in the room. The problem is they're often not given the opportunity to be in the room, and then those songs chart and like whatever. But when they are there, it's like the presence of people of color, people from diverse backgrounds, whatever. Financial diversity is an important part of the songwriting process. If the only people who are allowed to write songs are people who are already millionaires or Nepo babies, your songs are going to suffer. And with AI coming, I'm just saying that people who are connected in some way to the average experience, because we forget like who listens to music. I don't write songs for other songwriters. I write exactly. It's like ideally the people who are really the power and the force behind why music makes money is people on their way to work. People who want to have music on in the background while they're studying, people who want to have music on while they're cleaning the house, people who listen to music when they're sleeping, regular people with regular experiences and regular jobs. And if you remove people who have had those connections to those things, it's and I will not say any name or whatever, but it's no secret why sometimes a mega artist's 5th and 6th record will never hit the way that first record did. And it's because now that person has lived 20 years removed from the average person's experience that it's like, who are these songs for?
This is a really interesting kind of argument for the principle behind country music, which I actually think is like really sweet and darling. Country music, according to a country fan, is for normals. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
I don't know. It's just interesting what you're saying about like it's one of the pillars that makes country music so powerful to people. I love all types of music, but I love the fact that humans have decided together that average person experience is worth fighting for, and it's growing
and celebrating and making and in some way glamorizing.
Yes.
Like it's like the glamorization of the most average.
Yes.
Going, having a drink with the boy. I don't know what I think about that world, but
it helps connect us.
Yeah, it's like even I think a great example, for example, is the song Teenage Dream, the album. But whether you Last Friday Night is a song that I love. It's an amazing song, right? Now, I grew up in fundamental evangelical. We weren't allowed to watch Finding Nemo because Ellen DeGeneres was a voice actor, and it would make your kid gay. Plot twist: were they wrong? So my experience as a teenager was not Last Friday Night, but I wanted it to be. And whether it was your experience or whether you wanted it to be your experience, part of the reason why those songs were lightning on the airwaves is everyone thought about being a teenager. Everyone thought about what they were doing. It captured a very real moment that everyone experiences.
Totally.
And that's why I think that diversity in the room is important, because you just have more perspectives on what is the thing. If we're all different, what's the thing that we all connect on, right?
Totally.
I think we've talked about before, it's like sometimes the very best thing you can do in a room is like find the thing you have the most in common and start there, right?
Ooh.
So
even as distant as you might be,
for sure. And it's like, we
room.
might find out that actually, like, despite, like, for me, it's like, turns out everybody has a weird relationship with their own body. That's not unique to someone shaped like me. That's an everybody thing.
Yeah.
And if I take the time to listen, we could all have a conversation about how that's impacted us. And a song can be born from something we all would never think we have in common.
But we do.
But we totally do have in common, right?
Yes.
So I really feel thankful to be a person in a creative room who, it's like, I know my why, but I also know like my connection to just like real as like a person who grew up with the upbringing that I grew up with. And it just helps me to be around people who had different experiences. Like, and I'm thankful for those. And I'm thankful also for people who had one experience and now experience a different thing. No one should be demonized for any part of the process. Also, like I said Nepo Baby earlier, but like no one should be demonized for the family they grew up in. Do you know what I mean? It's like we all have a different perspective, and ideally more perspectives is better. My takeaway from this is like, please don't overlook like the working class songwriter that used to exist before streaming was the model, because you used to genuinely be able to have like a couple of album cuts on a thing and like
keep your lights
and
on.
like keep the bills paid. And it's just,
these are emergency issues for songwriters.
For sure.
Like, these
For
are
sure.
emergency issues, and I feel like these conversations, it's just a simple little adorable podcast. But if we're all talking about it, every guest we've had on, we touch on this. Everyone touches on the, what are we gonna do though?
I think
game.
it's because the music will suffer. The point you've made is like, if that songwriter's not in the room, the music level will suffer.
True.
It's not
and
about,
then with the wave of AI coming, I think you were talking about it with Jordan, where it's like, well, if the music suffers, we all know that AI can't do what we do, but if the music suffers and it gets to the point where AI is pretty close, you think your job's not going to come next?
Yeah.
Like if music suffers to the extent that there's only one perspective ever, AI can learn pretty quick.
Yeah.
Right.
So we better all be doing the job to the extent like chasing greatness, but also working with different people and,
stretching your brain.
Stretching your brain.
Your understanding of what the human condition is. I feel like that's never going to be a bad effort.
Yeah.
It's always going to be a smart thing to do. Is like being in the room with people that you might even disagree. We were just talking about this before the podcast, how powerful we are in such an interesting time in history where I think the algorithm has really given everyone a reason to corner up, but I feel like there's this weird shift happening where it's just like, wait a minute, the algorithm, like the only thing in common is the algorithm is telling us all what to think. And it's like, if we all just literally sit in a room, which songwriters have the luxury of doing,
right?
Like the fuck, that could save the world. I don't know. That's maybe a lofty thought, but I feel like there's a world to save right now.
For sure.
And our minds and hearts and all that stuff. I feel like getting together, talking with people who you don't necessarily 100% come from the same spot, that can only heal,
I don't claim to understand AI very well, but to me, my experience with it is it homogenizes and it sort of gravitates to the mean. Whereas I think what we're saying is in a great room of songwriters, those ideas are and then somebody goes, that's it.
Yeah, for sure.
And which is way different than my limited experience with AI and that's the specialness of y'all.
And I think that at this point of the career, everyone is talented. It is a rare day that you're showing up in a room and someone is not talented. And at this point in society's development, everyone is talented and pretty, right? It's like, to me, what distinguishes me is my perspective.
Yes.
That's the only thing.
Yes.
Everyone's talented.
Yeah.
How my perspective informs my talent, that's unique to me. And AI can't create its own perspective. It can only learn someone else's, right? Which is why, even like with the talk of Sona and Sona, what's the AI?
I can't remember. But it starts with an S.
Yes, I know. But it's like, that's why if you're ever wondering why songwriters are concerned, it's because every time you put a song in there, you're teaching it your perspective.
Yeah.
It can only learn someone else's perspective. It can't generate its own. So that's why it's okay. It's not, doesn't make people clutching their pearls and holding on to the days of yore, that they're like, oh, maybe I don't want to willingly teach the thing my perspective. That's my magic that I worked a life of trauma to develop. And there are ways, obviously, I'm not like a never AI. I'm like, it should be channeled and harnessed in ways that are productive and useful.
Agreed.
But yeah, it's just, I wanted to touch on the fact that, like, you know, so many people will say it's just a matter of time, but it is a matter of time and money if you don't have money. And we should be creating opportunities for songwriters that doesn't involve, like, it used to be there were really clear, like, pathways. Like, oh, you're an artist? Well, these are the things you do. You start doing local shows. And then once you get some fans together, you do bigger shows. And once you're doing bigger shows, you meet with the A&R, and then you sign the deal, and then they do the thing, and it's whatever. Now it's the Wild West. Like, there's no one way. And actually, I think personally, not our publishers, but publishers need to be doing better at educating songwriters what they're getting into.
Absolutely.
Because if someone sat me down when I signed my first deal and was like, let me tell you how much time it could take for you to make $50,000 in publishing, which seems like it's nothing.
It seems so easy.
But if you're a streaming only songwriter, it's not nothing.
It's a
which is most of us.
Yes, right.
Most of us right now, even if, like, there are people, like, people who are maintaining their deals, just maintaining their deals, keeping their deals, who have tremendous amounts of success, who've made no money. Like, mutual friends of ours who I'm like, oh my God, this person has a hit, just hasn't been on the radio. They're just maintaining their deal.
That's it.
They haven't even recouped a blip of it.
Right.
But they have all this success. It's very confusing.
It's very confusing. And I do think we need to talk about those things. Now, I have come prepared with a list of...
I've heard.
Well, this is pre that, because I don't know what time we have to go. Obviously, I'll talk all day, which is the problem.
No, I want to stay here forever. No, we're good.
Are we good? Okay.
We're so good.
we're
Okay,
good.
excellent. Something that I did want to say, because I believe in putting it out into the ethos online. Now, I have already met with someone from Spotify and talked to them about this, but I believe that there should be answers that aren't only performative in nature. That's where I'm at. Like, Mike Molnar is like on the executive level. He's our executive night warrior, right? But I'm on a level as a night warrior witch, and we're all fighting on our own level to do things, right?
Yes.
So, for example, I have said with you, I'm like, I think Spotify, for example, like, if we're gonna, everyone will be like, what should we do? Something needs to happen, but no, like, are we coming to the table with ideas while the big conversations are happening, right? While the big, like, fight for our rate to go up conversation, which is like legal in nature. It's not whatever. Are there other things that can be happening that increases the viability of songwriting just as a career, right? Because it's different if you're a producer writer than it is if you're just a writer, right? So, for example, I think that, like, Spotify and Apple Music and all of these different platforms have written by playlists, where you can go on a written by Laura Veltz, and it's a playlist and it has her little picture, and that's lovely. And I appreciate the fact that people get to see your face and whatever. My feeling is that if someone streams music from a written by playlist, that songwriter should get a small premium. In the same way that when you go intentionally listen to any artist, the money goes there.
To the artist.
And I already know, because I've talked about it, and they're going to say, oh, it's a great idea, but the infrastructure doesn't exist. The infrastructure didn't exist for there to be video on Spotify, and there is now. Infrastructure exists where there is interest,
Willingness
demand,
to make
or
it.
financial possibility.
Agreed.
So my feeling is, like, there has to be things that we can do in the meantime while these bigger things are happening, to, like, it incentivizes you, by the way, or me or anyone else to be like, hey, I have a written by playlist. You should go listen to music on it. Which, oh, by the way, what's crazy is that if you're a person who wasn't going to listen to music today and you see me post about a written by and you go to Spotify, you know who makes money on that? Spotify.
Right.
Spotify makes money. Spotify makes money on that. The most amount of money on that goes to the platform. So I'm driving sales to the platform by promoting a playlist that I have that's written by, but I don't get to see any of the money
Whereas
on it
the
because
fan
I'm
is-
just a songwriter,
Yeah,
right?
As the fan, I'm going to it to hear your song.
Yes, of course. So
100%.
what I'm saying is, if it's making them money, it shouldn't be crazy
Right.
for it to make me a little, like, a little
and it
bit
would
of
also
money.
benefit. There's no one loses.
Yeah,
in that
no one loses.
situation because
Exactly.
you're creating additional listenership.
Yes, for sure.
There should be some kickback.
Yep.
I love that idea. I wonder how it would be fun to have someone on here argue against that idea. What
Yeah.
the fuck? Why not?
For sure.
Like, tell me why
Yeah.
that's about. If you're out there and you have a really good reason,
Right.
why that's a terrible idea,
Yeah.
text me. I'm curious.
Now, what I
DM
will
me.
say is, if that does end up happening, I believe that it needs to. Right now, there's a lot of on the business side of the music world, different companies negotiate their own terms
True, and that
with
gets
these
really
DSPs,
complicated.
which
complicated.
You're still on my hook fish. I know that some of you are financially invested in one another. So that's why you get better terms, is because ultimately there is some patty cake going on, right? So what I'm saying is, for some of this stuff, I know we can't unionize, but we need to have certain things that are across the board for a songwriter that exist. Also, another thing that I'd spoke to them about is like, there is, if you've ever put out music, there's this platform called Spotify for Artists, and it helps you to track all of your whatever. But there's a Spotify for Publishers that only your publishers have access to, and I didn't even know it existed until
That's
I went.
news breaking
That's
for
news
me.
to me.
Totally.
Probably should have known
And
that.
they only make it available to publishers that can provide certain files for them. But it's just like Spotify for Artists. Like if I open my Spotify for Artists, because back in the 1400s I was putting out music, begrudgingly, by the way, never was the goal, but songwriting wasn't working. I was like, gotta do something. But I was telling her, she was like, well, I didn't even know that songwriters would be interested. I'm like, you don't think that a songwriter who has access to more information about the songs that they write couldn't negotiate better deals for themselves?
It's
You don't think that
leverage,
any knowledge, even if it's sad knowledge, if that knowledge helps them to decide maybe this isn't what I want to do, maybe this is a hobby or whatever, any knowledge is power. And so much is behind the veil where we're just like waiting every quarter to see like, well, what did that mean?
That's why this podcast exists.
For sure.
That is the reason for this.
So I think that could be something that's really helpful. But I am in my, I don't believe that I have to be a billionaire to make a change era. And maybe that's stupid.
May we all. That's a great era to live in.
Call me stupid.
You're not stupid. You're great. That's smart.
People with less against more have done it. So far be it from me to not think that, we talked about earlier, a great idea can come from anywhere. And that doesn't just mean in the songwriting room. A great idea can come from anywhere. And who's to say that some of these, and I fully believe that these conversations that you guys are having here will generate ideas that implement and influence change,
agree.
as long as a wide swath of people with different experiences are a part of that conversation.
Find that, just
You know what
like
I mean?
y'all do in the room, find the
Yes,
commonality.
find that commonality. Be like, what can we do?
I love it. That's great. Those are great ideas. I love them.
Is it question time?
I think so.
Okay.
What's
cannot
so
wait.
cute to me
We'd
is you're the
have no idea
first
what's
person
to come
ever.
prepared.
Now here's
Literally.
the thing. I have locally sourced some artisanal small batch questions from I have farmers marketed. No, I feel so happy to have peers that I respect and I think do amazing, amazing jobs that fall in the otherwise unproven category. That I was like, if you could ask anonymously questions to any of these people here, because there is an element of like, oh, I don't want, if it's a question that is about money or whatever, people take that very sensitively, right? And it's like, and especially where I believe we live in a world where so many people lie about money and how much money they're making, specifically songwriters, that it's like, if I can do something where people can ask me a question, I can ask you all anonymously, maybe we can get a little bit closer to the pulse of some like things.
So smart.
I love it.
I have 3 questions, if that's fine.
3?
I'm not texting. Okay, hold on.
This is exciting.
It is so fun to be on your podcast.
Thank you so much for being here, everybody. I really appreciate it.
Literally.
Okay, so, and I feel like they start in like interesting, like digestible order.
Okay.
So the first one was, what career or next steps would you recommend for an 18-year-old aspiring songwriter with no financial backing and no established industry connections?
Like a day job?
Because
immediately.
you're saying, a day job. Totally.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Like
just
what job
truly,
would you...
what career advice or next steps would you recommend for an 18-year-old aspiring songwriter with no financial backing and no established industry connections?
Get a
Same
job,
I would
get a
have
day
for
job.
anyone 18 or 22-year-old. I might have a 22-year-old in my house, which is get out, get a job, get in the rhythm. I think there's a rhythm to life and to working that you've talked about a ton. Just that we call it the day job phase in the book that's out there.
The book.
It's somewhere.
Yeah.
We're lying.
By the way, sorry, I'm a slide aside. I was somewhere this weekend and somebody said, no, it was last week. I was meeting with a young person who's plugged into AI. I was like, hey, you and Laura could just read the book on the podcast. I was like, huh? Never even thought of it. Anyway, so the day job phase is all about experience. Because think about the 18. I've also got an 18-year-old in the house, so this is hitting home to me right now, who wants to go to LA and be a pop guy.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of like, yeah, that's brave. But also there's life. Like you go get a job, feel the rhythm of earning, and while you're trading, you're starting to trade that time and money thing you just talked about. You know, it's like, okay, you've got to earn some money, so that limits your time. But while you're doing that, gather as much stuff as you can.
Like
Fill
life
the bucket.
experience.
Fill the bucket.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And just getting a day job, if we're talking practical, like base it on the time upon which you have, or not upon, whatever, the time you have to write with your most treasured co-writers at that point. If those people are available during the day, get a night job. If those people are available during the night, get a day job. Like, get a job and do the two things. Am I saying like, oh, you need, that sounds like an insane amount of things to do in a day.
No, yeah.
You have to do
But it
it.
is. No, I mean, I worked at Puffy Muffin in Brentwood when a million bazillion years ago. And I was literally, slinging quiche in the morning. And then it was like I'd go home and take my nap. I was an opener shift. And then, by like 2 o'clock when I was finally feeling like a human being, I'd be like, I guess I'm going to play piano now. Like figure out what's going to happen.
I think that's the most
3
practical
jobs out of
advice.
college.
Yeah, it's just
like,
part
I
of
wanted
it.
to be a singer-songwriter. I had 3 jobs out of college and met Bobby Bear Jr. at the bike shop that I worked at that did the rock band. It's like
it all led, but it's like, life experience. And
wasted.
especially if you live in Nashville, if you live in LA, New York a little less, but maybe you're going to run into people who are in the same position you're in and in the same stage that you're in. If you kind of, it's a weird humbling, I think, to be like, so you're saying no matter how talented I am, I have to start at the beginning?
Yes.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Exactly right.
That's what I'm saying.
I would add to this just an attitude thing, which is that time of your life is the most magical, open, energetic, free. There's no freedom like being 18 to 25.
You're right.
There is nothing like it. No matter how broke you are. I mean, assuming that you can feed yourself.
Yes.
Relish that time, know how special it is, and don't be in a rush.
patience.
Yeah.
I was thinking
Don't be in a rush.
patience as you were saying
Just
that.
sit in it. It's
It's
like
the hardest thing to remember that you have time.
Yeah.
Especially at the most you have time
Right.
of life, which
But
is
you
18.
feel like you have no time.
You feel like you have
Yes.
no
Right.
time.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. I'm 45 and I'm literally like, I got all the time in the world doing all this. Somehow it clicks later that you do have time, even though I technically have far less than this person. But like, you have so much time. It's so hard to wrap your brain and heart around it, but it's true. You have time. No one is watching you age. You know what I mean? You're just in your prime. It's supposed to be fun. And I like another little caveat to that. Find the most fun thing you could do.
You always say that. Follow the
most fun thing. If you think, oh, I could make just a little bit more money doing something I fucking hate,
Right.
and I could make a little less money and have a smaller house and live a little further away from everything.
That's okay.
And do something I love. Do the thing you love because you will be more joyful. It like energizes you. Do you know how exhausting this podcast is? Technically, it's so exhausting. I got here at 7 a.m. We painted. We're trying to set up. We're trying to do the thing. I'm going to leave here
Feeling
so
energized.
fucking jacked,
Because
so
you did something
excited
fun. Yes.
because I'm having fun. It's like the theories of relativity there are endless.
Yes.
But don't pick something. And there's another, this goes back to our book, speaking of our book, but getting a job.
Page 42.
Getting a job.
I'll do the narrator. I'll be the audiobook narrator.
Actually, it's funny
Please,
because we
kidding.
did try to narrate it before
did.
we
It was-
started doing these interviews,
didn't
and
we?
it sucked so bad because I am a terrible reader. But anyway, another thing I'd add to that is getting a job that is going to just far outpay you next to what a publishing deal in this day and age
Oh,
is.
for sure.
Terrible to do to yourself. You're in the, you're in the apartment that's so snatched. You're loving your life. You could afford the fabulous everything. And then they're like, we'd like to offer you a publishing deal. And you're like, I
For
have to move
$12.
immediately.
right.
And whoever didn't use this Chipotle gift card, that was a Christmas white elephant gift.
Precisely.
Yeah.
I think it's smart to kind of aim in the same range as what a typical or publishing deal is, just so that you don't have to time warp
backward. Sure.
That sucks.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah.
I have 2 questions.
Let's go.
One of which is mine.
Ooh.
So
not
it's
so
anonymous.
Well, no, but I believe in being.
Oh my God! I just said autonomous. I'm adorable.
I believe in. I hope that if I can be transparent and honest and vulnerable, it encourages other people to do that. And I think those conversations are amazing. So, as someone who grew up in a family that had little, my question is like, it's like help me, because it's like part statement, mostly question.
Yes.
But I think wealth is a relative term, and it is used relatively in ways that feel like I don't know where the access point is, right? So if you're a person who it's like, oh, well, you listen to these things and you're like, great, well, once you have your hit, which is already a very difficult thing to do, but it's like, it's easy from an outside perspective to be like, okay, well, what's wealth? Because wealth to one person is $100,000, and wealth to another person is $10 million, and wealth to another person is $10,000, $1,000, right? So my question is, like, what would you say to a person who assume the smallest understanding of wealth and financial literacy? What is the amount to be able to enter conversations about wealth? And I'll be like fully candid in terms of like, I signed a publishing deal, which was, we talked, very strategic for me to take the least that I needed.
Yes.
But for example, I have a bunch of that, like I have money in my savings for the taxes for it, right? Would that be enough money to start getting started with, right? Like if these people are signing $50,000, $60,000 deals, right? It's like, that might be the biggest chunk that they have for a second. Is that child's play? Is that nothing? Do you know what I mean? Or is there things that can be done for someone who's like, well, when I have an extra $250,000, then I guess I can make an investment thing.
Way too late.
Can you
I'll
explain
tell you that right out of the
to
gate.
someone with maybe less experience on what wealth means or financial literacy, like how you view wealth and when is like the actual time to start?
Man, and this is so fun because I think I'm an oddball in my industry on this front, which is fun. I enjoy playing that role. I'll start with a quote of my dad's, which is my favorite, which is, there are 2 kinds of rich people, those that have a lot and those that don't need much. And that's something I kind of anchor when I'm talking to people, to know that, number one, I always try not to put my bias on another person's plan. Presence, like you were talking about earlier, that's all that's about. I think there in this line of work, for instance, when Laura tells me, well, I'll use your story,
Please
Laura, because it's so good. Mike Molinar came to me and said, hey, Nashville's not quite ready for Laura, but she's going to be amazing. You need to meet with her. That was our introduction. No, I think you'd maybe
Had
one hit.
Just one.
And it hadn't really paid out quite yet
No,
when we met
it actually
at all. So you were really just like, I don't know what's happening. To me, that's probably the best time because there's something coming, but that doesn't mean it's the right time. It could be way earlier. I think I like to meet people very early to help them learn the vocabulary.
Sure.
Right?
100%.
Pull the veil back. Hey, here's how all this works. We may not engage. I've worked with songwriters for 2 years before they had a penny with me. And maybe we just talk once a year. You know, maybe it's like,
I mean,
hey,
that was us. Yeah, I don't think he didn't, you weren't like helping me build wealth for years.
Yeah.
It was
that's
just
right.
meeting with me for little drops
like
of
even
wisdom.
Hey, we have a little banking plan. You know, it's a little chart, pretty graph, and it just shows you how to do what you've already done. Thank goodness, is save taxes,
For sure.
put money in a business account, and that could sustain you for a year or two until it's like, oh, okay, now there's something else. What's the next thing? I always like to leave people I meet with that aren't ready to. In air quotes, fully. Oh, we got video. Hey, I forgot. You know,
He's doing air quotes for the audio listeners.
it's like,
And I'm still
fully
thin.
engaged. You know, it could be years.
Yeah.
But I would rather meet somebody and leave them better than I found them from a knowledge perspective, because that arms you. The goal is not to acquire you as a client, in my view. My goal is missional in this space. How do we equip songwriters to be successful? And that could be just telling you how to open a bank account.
Sure.
And some people need that information.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
When I think about like what it feels like, kind of seeing the clouds from both sides, it's like the question is a little bit like, where should my kid go to college when you've just gotten pregnant? It's like, luckily, 9 months inside, no screaming, nothing going on yet. Like you literally can live kind of in this, I know it's coming, but it's not here yet. And then the baby comes out, and then it's like, where should we hold the wedding? Like, it's almost like that. It's like everything actually does pour out. I mean, it's your buckets, essentially. Everything pours out one little bit at a time. So it's digestible bits. But I do think something that you plan to do soon is this graph thing that Tracy kind of like, it's a visual, and it helps really get you in this stage of like, it's not here yet, but it's coming. That's what I was told on our first meeting. And it helped me go, oh, well, if he approves of this behavior, then I'm going to be fine. And just knowing that, I had 2 years of that before we had any engagement. I think maybe even been longer. It was really just advice and like little bits of how to manage.
Can I also too just comment on the wind up to part of the wind up to this question, because have been very recently, and still kind of am, right where you are coming from with this idea of like, where does wealth start? Right. And I don't know shit about money. Okay. I don't know shit about money. A little bit more than I used to. But I always think of this, I don't know if it's a statistic or a study or whatever, but it was like all these people were asked like, what is rich? Like, what is, and it, like, inevitably every single person, I could be wrong about this, but the consensus was like, it's always twice what they make.
Right.
Interesting.
So if you make
it's always $80,000,
it's like, oh yeah, it's if I had 180 grand, I would be fine. That'd be rich. Or like, if you have $1 million, well, $2 million is really, that's rich. And so I think it's understanding that whatever you have and have access to, there is a way probably of compartmentalizing different aspects of where that money comes from and is going in order to be able to plan for the future.
The tricky part of this, to that point, is that it's not about how much you have, it's how your values align with the money you have. That is the bigger question that helps you deal with wealth as it comes at those different levels. Like meeting somebody where they are and helping them prioritize what's important to me.
Sure.
It could be, I want to eat tomorrow.
Right. Yes. And it's so interesting because I think that like having conversations like this so people know that wherever you're at, ideally there can be a starting point.
Yes.
Right? That should be the takeaway, is like, because for me, I remember thinking, I mean, my family was like, where there was nothing. And there was trauma. But it's one of those things where I think I even, until much later in life, I was like, I don't make enough money to have a Roth IRA. It's like, this information people don't have. If you grow up in a certain family or in a certain tax bracket or in a certain region or a certain whatever, like, so for me, like the idea of, okay, if you're someone listening to this and you're like, I make enough money to pay my bills, which is already a blessing, in my opinion. Is there still a starting point where it's like, is $5,000 a year? You know what I mean? Because I think the first time I ever spoke, and this was forever ago, but like Merrill Lynch was like, we don't even speak to you if you don't have a $5,000 like initial thing, right? Which at the time I was like, I'm not going to say what I want to say because it would certainly get this podcast taken off of the air. But that was unrealistic for me to have an extra $5,000 laying around for sure, right? But you get to like, I think that's the thing is like, I want to really realize for people that there are stages. It's not you're broke, you're poor, you're poor, you're broke, you're a zillionaire. Like there are stages
I think that's every American.
to it.
I think that's like such a typical takeaway.
And I hope that like people, when they're hearing like, because wealth used to be a thing that made me go like, ugh, like, ew, that's like associated with the kind of person that whatever. And I'm like, no, it's actually unbelievable when you realize that money can make money.
Yes.
Like that's the thing. And it's like, oh, well, should we be having conversations with younger songwriters about like, hey, you should probably put what you're going to save for your taxes next year in a thing for a year so it can make you like a little something, right? Wouldn't that be a nice conversation to have?
Yeah.
When you have that thing and then you have a little bit more and then we start talking about like the faucet and the buckets and everything snowballs, right? But like, I don't, there's been so many times where I'm like, that conversation doesn't apply to me. And I think that's why this conversation is important because that conversation should apply
I agree.
to like just about anybody, but on their own, where they're at.
Right.
Yeah.
There's another, let me twist this just a little bit too. As a creative, it's hard to remember that you're a business owner.
True.
Too. This is something we make a point in this book all the time is that you're a business owner. And back to patience, back to the 18-year-old question is, if you were to start a business, if you wanted to open a McDonald's franchise today, you'd sign on the dotted line probably for $1 million line of credit that it takes to invest in that business. So you're a songwriter starting out. Thank goodness you don't have to sign $1 million line of credit.
Right.
Right? Your trade-off is the odds of you getting a hit are slim.
Right.
There's your trade-off.
True.
But you're investing in your career today. So there's also, from another angle, a pressure to feel like you need to fund that Roth IRA, right? Because everybody's doing it. Hey, my co-writer has a Roth IRA and a SEP IRA and all this stuff. I should do that. But you may be in a spot where you're just investing in your career, which it is good to save. It is very good to save. I'm not saying it's not good to save. But there's a period of time where you've got to invest in yourself. And that may mean buying a piece of gear or buying a guitar or just having an emergency fund. Like I've worked with people for, maybe you'd be in this category too, Laura, for 2 or 3 years where all we did was save the emergency fund.
Yeah.
Right.
Just build
But
some
I think
cash.
that's even important for people to hear. It's like people who might hear the buckets thing and be like, well, Tracy said that I need to have a year of my income as an emergency, and that's when the first bucket is filled, and that feels impossible.
Yeah.
So that means that I'm not even in bucket one. It's like, no, you're still in bucket one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your bucket is
I really
filling
love what you're saying.
at a different rate
Yes.
than maybe someone else's bucket.
I think I really hear what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like I want other people who maybe aren't used to these conversations, like in their brain, if you're not hearing it, you just hear certain words and you're like, that's not me. I know how much money I make and it can't be me. And I even have to constantly like butt up against that idea of like, hey, I'm like, for the first time, I'm like, I have some, like for me, it's like some money in the bank that feels different than the normal, you know, paycheck to paycheck kind of a thing. It's like, should we, me talking to my husband being like, should we be doing something with this money? Because I feel like if it just sits in the savings until the taxes come around, did I do anything? Did I make the most out of it? Right. And I think that like wealth management is ideally a part of it is how do you make the most out of whatever it is. But like that should be with everybody. It's like, okay, well, if I only have $3,000, how do I make the most out of my $3,000 is no different than, well, it is different, but it's the ethos should be the same with someone who has $30,000, with someone who has $300,000. It shouldn't just be, oh, well, if I only have $3,000 and I know that like 98% of that is just going to like gas and food and rent, then like this conversation can't be for me. And I think it keeps people stuck there.
I think we need a pre-bucket Tracy intensive, like a pre-bucket, like the first meeting we had, a prucket. Love you. The first meeting we had laid out as clear as day so that you understand that the bucket is filling, even if it's a couple of drops in the bottom.
It's still filling.
It's still filling.
And it's moving
towards the next part. This is why it's so much easier. It's so much easier for someone like me who, by the way, raised the same way, phobic of crazy words like Roth IRA. It's just phobic. But when I realized that in order to get to X, I needed to why.
Yeah.
The why became my whole life. I was just like, well, then why? Let's do
Right.
the
We
why.
might as
We're
well
going to
why.
why. And then when that bucket started looking like a little juicy, I turned back and I'm like, Tracy, it's filling up.
Yes.
And then he's like, oh, well, I know exactly what to do then.
Yes.
And then,
See, these are the things that it's like that feeling
yes.
can be such a relevant feeling for so many people
Yes.
that it's like to have these conversations beforehand, then you can say, hey, I think something's happening where even right now where I'm at, I'm like, oh, we have a little bit of money. Should we be mindful
something. Yeah.
about that? Had I not been hearing these conversations, I would have thought this is the money that I'm saving to put toward my taxes next year because I got paid for the first year out instead of month by month. Like that's how my deal was negotiated.
Which, by the way, no harm, no foul. The fact that your money is just sitting somewhere waiting for this decision to be made, no problem.
No,
That's great.
for sure.
Because there are people who see wealth as a pair of shoes. There are people who
Yes,
see wealth as
100%.
an upgrade on a car.
Yes.
And they're jumping the bucket.
Yes.
They're like literally jumping buckets where it's like, now it's funny because you're saying invest in yourself. I think there's a whole family of thought around that we could go. Maybe when you guys do an intensive, we talk about you need something for your work. If you got a little drop in that bucket, now's the time maybe.
Then great, yeah.
But in terms
or
of...
then you say, hey, the bucket, there's a couple of drops in there. Whatever we're doing is working. Keep dropping drops in the bucket.
Yes. There you go.
And then we're going to have
Steady on.
a little tiny puddle in the bucket and there, whatever. But I think it's so easy for someone like me. I won't say for people because I just think it's better just in terms of, so easy for someone to be like me to be like, what is one drop in my bucket?
Yeah,
This isn't
what's
a
the big
conversation
deal?
for me.
Exactly.
And
I thought that too.
I just don't believe.
Yeah.
I don't believe that there shouldn't be conversations for anybody.
Agreed.
I think that everybody should be welcome to the table. And it's what I love about this podcast because I've told Laura before. What I appreciate about having these conversations is it doesn't feel like when I'm listening, this is a TED Talk where there's an expert and a whatever. I feel like I'm at a dinner table and we're having a conversation. Which I, knowing what I make, should be able to ask you, hey, what is wealth? Where does wealth start?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Which is such a bizarre, weird, like to be like, is wealth like, is that an income number where like, oh, once I make a certain amount of money, then I've earned the right to talk to someone or whatever? Or no, now we're all through this conversation realizing actually it's similar practices just implemented based on your values,
Based on your
at
values,
whatever
where you
level
are.
that you're at, which hopefully can open someone's understanding to being more open to thinking about their money in a different way.
Totally.
Or their future money.
Yeah.
Pinkies crossed for
I
all of
wanna
you.
challenge advisors out there too of like, this seems like a terrible business model. Right? I would say to you, that extra money that when the second you thought, what should we be doing with this money? That's a great time to either listen to a lot of these episodes. That's one option, which is one reason we
do
did this
this.
is to
Yeah.
scale and to open the dialogue. Secondly, meet with somebody that you trust. And I would challenge the advisors out there. I've built an entire business on meeting with people at that stage. And let me tell you, the trust that is built, this is where it really hits home for me, is the trust that's built is insane over that time period.
Yeah, because you've seen people at completely different
Exactly.
Yes.
parts of that journey.
And I didn't feel less valued by this man at that point.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I didn't also see an increase in value. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Tracy didn't start going,
you.
ooh,
Oh, no, yeah.
my prediction became, like he doesn't have that energy. And it really helped me go, oh, okay, money isn't evil. People who manage money, they're not evil. Because to me, that was the perception.
Right, for sure.
So
What
he
does it
reset
say
my,
to you?
yeah.
If you have $3,000 and you're curious about what to do, and I say, sorry, you need $5. What does that tell
But that
So
happens
rude.
I
Yeah.
know.
all the time. And
I'm
it
against
happens
that.
to a lot of people who listen to this podcast who work maybe a part-time job, or like for me, it's like the biggest part of my income does come from the royalties that I make, but I'm a pre-hit songwriter, which is very advantageous to
Pre-hit,
say about
that's so
myself.
cute. No, I love it.
But it's like, when you make what would be considered like a middle class, and that even is relative to everybody, but it's exactly, that's why I'm so glad we talked about this, because it's someone like that who will be like, oh, I have $3,000, which maybe took forever to get to a point where you have $3,000 extra dollars to then be like, well, I'm going to call Merrill Lynch and see about investing. And they're like, oh, well, we only start at $5. You're like, well, I guess fuck me. Do you know what I mean? I guess I'll always be struggling in the way that I'm struggling, and it reinforces these narratives that you don't have access to wealth. And my feeling is, I don't know, I can't make a comment about that, but everybody should have access to knowledge. Yes. Everybody should have access to knowledge and information about whatever that they want to learn about. So I have one more question. Is there time?
Well, yes, I think so.
Oh, please.
One more
yes,
kind of wrap
of course.
up is, it doesn't mean, and it's why one of the reasons why I was so motivated, certainly, to do this podcast, is that I can't meet with all those people realistically.
Right.
I do have to run a business, and advisors have to run a business. But I do think, for me, it was, am I all in on this community? And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
And when I made that decision, it was so easy. And I would say this could be for doctors. Like, if you love doctors, go meet with residents that aren't making any money.
For sure.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. Find your community that you
My dad built
care
a
about.
business on that. He met with hundreds of residents that are not making a penny and invested time in them. If we as advisors want your trust, we need to extend the hand, not expect you to have a bunch of money.
Right. Yeah.
It's just
I
nice.
have to put
It's
a
just
little,
like gives me renewed hope in humanity, because
Same.
I meet more of this than I
pretty
meet of the
passionate
other.
about all that.
I know you are. It's amazing. You're amazing. Last
Final,
question.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
Which, what I will say is, I feel very honored to be here today and have these conversations. And I hope that, like, even if it's like we're talking about like how do you integrate new kids, we could talk about this later, but like it'd be cool if like once per Songwriter Soup season there's like a new kid on the block episode
100%.
where it's just someone that you really, you're like, there's something that person has, and they're not at waiting for my 25th number one status yet, because I think that the conversations that will be had from those things can be really helpful.
Totally.
Okay. So, final question.
Okay.
It's a real uplifting one. Super, super uplifting. With the rise of AI, and this is from a songwriter specific, not a producer writer, just as a songwriter, which we are in our own sinking ship sometimes. With the rise of AI, sync money getting smaller, which I don't know if everyone knows that, but it is, since like the there's just like, since the strikes and all this different fires, whatever. With the rise of AI, sync money getting smaller, oversaturation in markets, including revenue stable ones like K-pop, where it used to be like, to do K-pop was like, that was special. Now everyone's doing it because they still sell physicals. Streaming services impact on songwriter income, and everything else that's going on that makes the songwriter the last person to eat. Are we fucked?
So let me just speak generally.
Sure, of course.
I believe in humanity. Probably more than I ever have, even though it is so dire out there. Not just for songwriters. Clearly, it is just, there is a lot going on. But I think there's sort of a tick, boom in the air for me that says, with more transparency, more conversation, less fighting, less anger, more just education and information, I do think there is a tipping point coming. I'm on all the boards and
all of them,
and I'm witnessing what's happening. I can see what's happening. I can see it in a technical sense. But the thing about streaming, just for one subject that is kind of dope, is that you buy a record once, you play it, it's sitting there. Streaming is collective, and these songs don't die, and they're continually, the counter keeps a counting. And I do feel like there's something valuable about that. I don't know how it'll play out in the immediate. There's a lot of greed, and there's a lot of people that are trying to stop from sharing. But every conversation I have with an individual, no one isn't on this page. Every individual I talk to, and I'm in rooms with publishers, I'm in rooms with record label executives, I'm talking with managers all the time, producers and writers. You know how we're always kind of going at it, going, you get points, how come we don't get that whole... Those people are starting to realize this is a scam. This is a scam. So there's something in the air. I don't know what's coming, but I feel a sense. That is the Fruit Loopian answer of all time.
Absolutely love.
But it's all, I do feel some sense of hope. Tracy?
that's really hopeful in a sense that one person at a time we can make a difference. I think that, and I'm having the same conversations. I'm asking people to be on our podcast who are on the other side of that argument to say, hey, explain to me why this is right. I'm open. If you can tell me why this is the way it is and there's a logical argument, my mind's open. I'm seeing this side and I'm thinking, this is tragedy. I miss those songwriters that could have album cuts and stay alive.
Yeah.
The music's going to miss it, and the music's going to suffer, and I don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
And so I feel like if we have a voice, a little one, and we have voices.
A mighty one.
Oh, I hope so.
I hope so too.
And if we have conversations individually, I feel like when we get to the one-on-one level, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I want you to succeed. I want them to succeed.
Sure.
And so I'm hopeful that moves that needle on the streaming side. I'm at a loss on AI. I have no idea.
Sure.
I just fundamentally believe there is nothing like the human creative brain. Bring it, AI.
And
you can't touch it.
I also
I love that. That is my favorite argument so far, and I say the same thing of myself. I could say this of Thomas, just knowing Thomas and many of us. I dare you. I dare you to write a better song than I can.
Can't do it.
You can't.
And AI can't write an email. It can't write my I've
properly.
I've tried it.
Yeah.
And if I'm writing an email to Kevin, I'm like, no, AI doesn't know Kevin.
And it's
Yeah.
not because
Kevin.
it's not because the technology isn't brilliant. It is. It's not that it's not a powerful tool. It is.
And that
But
it will be useful for people who know how to
totally,
channel
and they
it
will make
and-
money.
yes.
They will make money. And I say to them, go nuts. For me, my decision in this lifetime is to be better and to dig deeper and to find something that hasn't been said, because as you mentioned very eloquently earlier, and you worded it way better than I'm about to, AI can only do an impression of what has already been done. It can't reinvent the wheel. So my job has literally become reinvent the wheel every day. And there is an argument that says, won't that be exhausting? The answer is yes.
and fun
And
Let it be.
fun.
and frustrating.
And wonderful.
Which is human.
Yes.
And that's what makes
exactly.
us human.
And that's what art is.
And that's what art is. And it's what it's for. And it's so odd to me, and of course poetic, of whoever's writing this story called life, that AI is happening at a time when art couldn't be more important.
Right.
Like, I think it's just, the poetry is almost like, it's a little bit like, calm down, creator. Really? You're taking the one thing that can unite everyone
Right.
away at the same time when we are so separate and so in our, and so to that I say, I think this story is going to end well. Yeah.
Good. And I still think that it's as true as ever. One song can change your life.
Agreed.
Yes.
I think that that's still true, even though it feels insurmountable. And for whatever it's worth, to anyone who listens to this podcast with great dreams and hopes for themselves and a reality that maybe doesn't always feel like it's aligned, I feel so happy to hopefully encourage that it's like, I'm a chubby queer kid from New Jersey who knows no one in music, and I got invited to the table today. And if you take your craft seriously, there's always it's going to make room for you. I just choose to believe that, right? It's like, it all happened because I showed up prepared and present on a day, and someone saw that and sent a text, and that changed the trajectory of where my life is going. And don't quit before that happens.
Exactly.
It's so easy to hear someone who's like, and then the next day I was in a CVS and I met Adele. From that perspective, I'm telling you, from
Adele
the
reference today.
well, she's everything to me. From the that happening, it's like, just don't give up. You can focus on what you can focus on and what matters to you, and it can be enough to make room for you still.
Totally.
Even if it feels impossible. So thank you for trusting me to come on here and not show my ass and make a fool of myself, but for leading by example that all of us do something that has value and deserve to be a part of the conversation.
You're amazing,
Yes.
Thomas. I'm so grateful for your
thankful.
time. And yeah, you've really blown this open wide, and I'm so grateful for your questions. And we need to think about how to serve that exact demographic of songwriter. We
I
need to
love
get
that.
better.
Which,
I
for the
appreciate
record,
the
for anyone of
inspiration.
you listening to this right now, if you have a question, but for some reason you may not want you to be the person to ask the
Send it
question,
to Thomas.
send it to me.
He'll tell me.
And I will make a list and I will make sure that it stays anonymous.
Yes, please.
That's like an actual practical, helpful thing, right? It's like, but I think someone might ask you a different question than they would ask you if they knew you didn't know it was them, right?
I love that.
So for any of who's
Thank
listening,
you.
you
It
can
can be the
totally send me
anonymous
it
question.
on
appreciate
Instagram or whatever.
Me and Thomas talk
all the
every
time.
single day. It's a friendship
too much.
that is so
it's
much.
adorable.
So it will get to
but
me.
send me the questions and I will send it to them and they can maybe do a Q&A, whether it's like a
Yes.
post on socials or whatever.
Amazing.
But yeah.
Thank
Love
you.
it. Thank you.
Thank
for
you
being
so much for your time.
Thank you.
In the meantime, leave a not so anonymous comment on our YouTube page for God's sake, and subscribe. And I dare you to have finished this episode and not be inspired. Good God.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so
Massive.
much,
Thank you.
Thomas.
I dare you.
What a pleasure it is to have you.
Thank you so much. I also, before we leave, recommend listening to this in halftime or at least 75.
Oh, sorry.
Because
No, listen to it. No.
your brain,
Watch it on the YouTube page
I
4
talk
times.
too
Oh,
fast.
4 times, or just
Sorry.
watch it again. Your brain is so fast, and I just want to say, like,
There's a lot
wow,
here. It's meaty.
there's so much to chew on the bone.
A lot of also parallels
you.
between super fans like the Ragasta brothers and yourself.
We're a small but mighty growing army and there will
New
be t-shirts.
Jerseyans.
New Jerseyans.
Yeah.
Super SOUPER fans. There will be merch.
Can we have merch?
We need
I
merch.
want
Yeah.
I'm thinking on it.
Okay.
Thank you guys. Much appreciation.
y'all.